It's another day of being in the kitchen, and I'm going to be working on about 12 pounds of ground beef recipes today. If you've been around my channel for a while, you have probably seen me make all of these, or at least know that these are pretty typical recipes in our family. First off is tacos, nachos, chili, and I have one more, and calico beans. So those are the 4 different recipes I'm making. I'm gonna make pretty much doubles of just about all of those things, and that's where we're at. This morning, of course, I'm starting with frozen meat because I didn't really know what today was gonna bring, but it's just gonna work out to be able to do this. So I'm gonna pop this into the microwave for just a minute or 2. That's gonna lift off, soften this up just enough so I can lift off this like little bit of paper, the little freezer paper. I have 4 more over here I'm going to get unwrapped, and we're just going to keep this day moving along. On top of that, I have some bananas here that have gone bad, and then I also have some in the freezer, so I should probably get those out to thaw. And I was hoping to make up a whole bunch of like mini loaves of banana bread. And then I also in here have tomatoes that I cooked down the other day with some onions, and those I'm going to run through my food strainer so that I can get those canned into tomato juice. I know it might seem wasteful to some people that I don't do, I don't can like the whole tomatoes or whatever, but that's just, my family just likes it a whole lot better in chili and hug and kiss soup if I just use my homemade tomato juice. And so that's what I'm gonna do. It's just a small pot right now. There's a garden full of more tomatoes that I have to get to, but I'm gonna try to stay focused on these 3 things, which is 12 pounds of ground beef, banana bread, and tomatoes. Let's see if I can make that happen. You guys see I have a battery charging up because I know that there's gonna be lots of filming today, so I'm ready for it. That actually brings me to one thing that I just wanted to say is thank you guys so much for shopping through my Amazon links. I don't earn a lot off of that. I think the very most I've ever earned in a month was $39, and the least of course is like 0. If you earn less than 10, they don't pay you out for that month. They tack it on to the next one. But anyway, thank you so much. That's how I used my Amazon gift cards from my affiliate links. I use that to purchase a new battery, and that way I can not have to wait while I'm filming when a battery goes dead. So thank you so much. If you don't really know how that all works, the Amazon affiliate thing, I'll give you a quick explanation. So I put a link in my description box for different things that I use, whatever it might be, like my enameled cast iron or a cookbook or some homeschooling product or something like that, right? Things that I use and love. I put the links into the description box below. You guys click on that, and then when you head on over to Amazon, if you make a purchase, whether you buy the pencils or the cookbook or whatever it is that I recommended, or if you buy anything else on Amazon, I get a little percentage, somewhere around 2%, sometimes 4%. Some things as high as 10%, not very many things, but there are a few things out there. And I get a little bit of kind of, I guess you would call it a kickback. It's just kind of nice. I just let that kind of keep accruing, and then every month Amazon sends me a gift card and I purchase more camera equipment, things like that. So this last time I bought a camera battery. Before that I bought a couple extra SD cards or whatever they're called, so that I can have a couple cards going, like when I'm filming multiple things at one time, I can keep it all in one card. That is how affiliate marketing works. It doesn't cost you guys any more. It just helps me out a lot. So I super appreciate that when you guys do that. And okay, let's get this stuff going. I got my 2 kettles going here with my 12 pounds of ground beef. I did get out the bananas there. You guys saw that. I got that thawing, and those are ready to be made into the banana bread. And now I'm just gonna work on doing my tomatoes. So I know that I've shown this before. Shown? Yes, I have shown this before. This is a food strainer, and so you can put whatever food in up here. It goes through an auger down in here. The auger presses it through these little openings, these little holes here, and so like the pulp comes out, all the skins, seeds, you know, anything hard like that comes out of here. This is like the little waste chute over here, and so all my tomato juice and, you know, a lot of the tomato pulp will also come through here. So my juice isn't a perfectly clear tomato juice, it is kind of pulpy, but that's just the way we like it here. So sometimes when I make my tomato juice, I will add a whole bunch of different vegetables. This time I was in a big rush, so I did just add in, I think there's about 1 to 2 onions in here, and just to give it a little added flavor. I have put carrots in here before. I've thrown celery. I really like to put celery in here. I just was in a rush that day and needed to get the tomatoes cooked, but nonetheless it's still going to taste delicious when we make it into chili and everything. So I'll show you how this is going to happen. Hi, Joe. Did something happen? Hello. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come here. No. Bring that here. Outside. I'm going to warm it up for you first. I think you're going to like it better. Sometimes, if what comes out looks a little bit juicy, I'll just throw it back in for a second run through, just to make sure I get all the juice out. And you gotta squish slowly, remember? Don't squish too fast. Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah, just start pushing it down. You don't need to push all the way down to the bottom, just work it over here so it's kind of working its way down. Okay, I ran everything through here. All of the juice and you know, like the good pulp came out into here. This, I don't know how many quarts this bowl is. I'm thinking it's probably 5 quarts or so. And so I will jar this up here shortly. Like I said, this is where the waste comes out, so you can see all the seeds and the tomato skins. So even though I don't use the whole tomato, there isn't a whole lot of waste, comparatively speaking. I use this contraption here for a lot of things. We do applesauce this way. When I do like blackberry jam, I do it this way so that we strain out the seeds, so we don't get a real, we get a very thick jam, but just not a very chunky jam. It's smooth, but it still has all the pulp and everything, just the seeds are removed. I also use this when I make cranberry sauce and I want to do like strained cranberry sauce. So we use this for all kinds of things. It's been a great tool, and I think I've had this for about 20 years or so, and it's still holding up. I've had to replace the gasket. Warren actually made a couple gaskets for me, and I think that's all we've ever had to replace on here. So I'll put a link, of course, in the description box. This is Back to Basics brand, which I don't think I've seen any longer. Yeah, this is Back to Basics food strainer, but I know Victorio makes a really good one. And what other? Yeah, I bought this local at Family Natural Foods way back in the day for $58.99. Remember the days when they actually put like a little sticker on everything? But anyway, that's what I'm using. I've been keeping an eye on my meat here as well, and that is looking like it's starting to soften up nicely. I'm gonna have to give that a stir and probably add just a tiny bit of water. I don't want it to scorch to the bottom. And then, since I'm in the kitchen and I'm working on tomatoes, I thought I might as well let myself get distracted and go out and pick tomatoes. So I'm going to grab the kids. We're going to go pick tomatoes, come back in and get more tomatoes cooking so we can just kind of burn this out all today.
But why are we going down to pick more tomatoes?
Because I have my food strainer out, and since I have the food strainer out today, I might as well keep on going with the tomatoes, don't you think?
Okay.
Okay. Here is the state of the tomatoes right now.
That one's looking so weird.
Yeah, that one looks weird. That's actually aroma. That's why it's long like that. So Maria and I are going to go through and pick. So you just start picking, okay? How's your basket look? Pretty good. Okay, let's look through here and see which ones we actually want to pick. This one we'll pick. Those two you can pick. Just absolutely beautiful outside. It's sunny. I think Peter was down fishing just a second ago, but he must be on the other side of the pump house. I mean, it's just beautiful. Breezy. Just a beautiful sky. Okay, let's pick this one. Out in the garden, we decided to pull up some onions because I didn't have any in the pantry. This is a nice size onion. I like this one, but as you can see, some didn't even grow much bigger than the set began. But that's okay. I'm going to get these washed up here, and or I washed them outside, but I'm just going to do some kind of final peeling and get these all chopped up so I can add some of these to my tomato juice. I also want to chop some of these to add to my taco and nacho meat mixture that I'm making. I had to change direction for a quick minute here because it is just about time for lunch. I know that Warren and Sam are going to be in shortly, and so I thought that I would just make something that's really, really easy. I haven't made this for a while, and I'm not even sure if I ever showed it here. These are just hamburger buns. I put all the bottoms on one side, I put the tops over here, butter up the tops, and then I pile up some ham. This is pre-sliced Black Forest ham from Aldi's. We really like that. I just pile up some ham, and then you can see I have some of this Colby Jack here. I have a brick of Colby Jack. I'm just going to get that all sliced up, put it on there. We'll put this in the oven under the broiler for, I don't know, 3-6 minutes, somewhere around in there, just until this is nice and toasty, and over here the cheese is melty, and that's it. It's just a really easy lunch. I did get out a pile of vegetables over here. I have a little bit of romaine, some spinach, some lettuce. We're going to make a big salad. I have some sliced garden tomatoes here, some red onion, slice up those strawberries, and that's going to be lunch today. Okay, 1:30 now, and all of my beef here has been cooked for quite a while. That's just kind of sitting there right now, waiting for me to get back to it. I did wash up my box of tomatoes, except for these. I'm going to let these ripen a little bit longer. And the whole basket got washed. Here's what didn't fit into my pot right now. Over here I have two, that's a pretty big stock pot there, and this is a smaller one. I have those going with the tomatoes. I added onion to those. I am going to throw in some celery into this one back here. And I think we're just kind of moving along. I think Joe, he's over here. He was just watching little Eve from North and South. And so they're at a water park today, so he was watching that. And we're gonna unload the dishwasher. Did you know that, Joe?
No,
You're gonna...
parade.
Oh, yeah, the parade. No parade, no snacks right now. We just had lunch. No, that's part of Joe's lunch. So Joe's gonna help me unload the dishwasher, and we have to take the garbage out and load up the dishwasher, all those kinds of things. So Maria's hungry, We just finished lunch about an hour ago. She's already hungry.
Water gun.
And you want a water gun?
Yeah. Yeah. Water gun. Hey.
So I was just referring to my menu plan here, and I see that the chili we're going to be having basically like next week Wednesday, and then 2 weeks after that on a Wednesday. So what I'm going to do now is I just have out a couple ice cream pails. These are actually the only 2 I have right now, so that's going to work out perfectly. I'm going to put 1 batch of chili here, 1 batch of chili here, and then I'm not going to put the macaroni in right now because I don't want it to get all bloated while it's in the freezer. So I will just cook that up the day of. But otherwise, here's all my ingredients. It's just really easy. I'm going to use up some of my home canned kidney beans here. We've got the tomato juice, or sorry, tomato soup. Make sure that when you use Worcestershire sauce that you always shake it up, because a lot of the flavorings will settle to the bottom. I have my spices and ketchup, and I'm just gonna scoop straight out of here rather than can this first. I'm just gonna put that right into here and freeze it. I'm just going to write chili on the lids of each of these ice cream pails, and then just write add noodles and water so that I remember what I have to do when I do thaw this. Yes, honey? Yes, the geoboards, you can use those. So this is the recipe that I follow loosely. It's called Tomato Garden Juice Blend. You can see it calls for tomatoes and chopped celery and green pepper, onion, parsley. It says carrots. I could never get the carrots to go through my food strainer very well though. Some parsley, some salt, and then some bottled lemon juice. And so I mix it up with the vegetables. I don't always use exactly what they say there, but this does, if you do follow this recipe right here, it tastes a lot like V8 juice, and that is just a flavor that we like. This comes out of the Ball Blue Book, and so here's what I have going. I washed up my jars. I brought up, I think this was a dozen jars. One of them was actually technically not a canning jar, so I have 11 jars that I did wash up, and now I'm just using my little collar here and pouring in the tomato juice. I am going to add my lemon juice. Typically, I add the lemon juice first and the salt first. I just forgot this time. So I'm going to put the camera down. I'm going to start adding my lemon juice, adding my salt. The recipe calls for a tablespoon of salt. What does that say? Optional? That must be for the whole thing. I do a half a teaspoon per jar, and then I'm also going to put in a little bit of parsley in each jar as well, and can it up just like that.
Is this the taco meat?
That is going to be taco meat. Yep, I'm going to strain that in a minute.
Tonight?
Yep, we're going to have tacos tonight, honey. Why don't you wash your hands, and then do you want to help me out in the kitchen a little?
About for what?
I don't know what I'm going to need help with yet, but there will be something. So Peter's just working on running the tomatoes through the juicer.
Perfect.
That's going to take us a little while. We finished up this pot here, and then we have one more pot, but this one is still working on cooking. As soon as we finish that, then we're going to start turning all of this meat into taco meat and nacho meat. So when canning high acid foods such as tomatoes, you don't need to pressure can. You can just use a boiling water canner. It takes longer in the sense that you have to keep it at a real low boil. With the quarts, I have to do 45 minutes. But this is basically the setup. It's just a boiling water canner, which is a really large pot. I have water in there right now, and it's heating up. I got lots of kids in the house now. They came in from all their outside play, so it might be a little bit noisy. So I have my basket here, and what I'll do is I'll hang this on the edge over here. Well, why don't I just do it right now? I'm going to hang that on the edge. And I will just put jars in here very, very carefully, and I'll kind of alternate them so that I'm distributing the weight. I'm going to be able to fit 7 jars in here. Just a minute, Amber. And then I'm just going to put this pint jar in the center there. I'm going to drop this down. And the goal is for the water, there we go, I filled it up just right. So the goal is for the water to just be over it by an inch. And so I double check to make sure just by tapping on the lid, making sure it comes up an inch on my finger. I'm going to place the cover on. I'm going to let that come to a boil, and then I'm going to keep it at a very low boil, just a few bloop, bloop, bloops. And I'm going to do that for 45 minutes. And then that will stay canning or kind of low boiling in there for 45 minutes. And that's it. Then you just lift the jars out, and that's really all there is to canning. It does take time, especially today, just because I've been going back and forth. Amber's working on college applications right now, so I've been helping her, doing a few things outside. We had to run the van in. So there's just like lots of little things going on too, which is causing this to take a lot longer. But there really isn't, it's not hard, especially water bath canning. Okay, I need to get all this meat made into taco and nacho meat, and I also hear Amber calling me to help with the college app again. I'm taking a few minutes. It's way more than a few minutes, probably almost 45 minutes to just kind of regroup here. I got my canner loaded. I went ahead and just did all of these dishes over here because I did not want to take the time to unload the dishwasher and load it up. I just thought it was faster for me if I just just bust it out and get the dishes done. I needed to clean up over here. This is where I was doing all the tomato juice. I did set Joseph and Peter and Maria up with a little snack, and they went out to the trampoline for a little bit. I was helping Amber with college stuff. And now I think, I guess Maria says they didn't go to the trampoline, they were on the swing. So I just have to finish washing this little counter here. And I want to get my chili put down into the freezer, and then it's going to be time to work on that meat because it's just time. So it just kind of helps to, okay, that's ready to go. I need to set my timer for 45 minutes. So sometimes it's just helpful to regroup and kind of start over at square one, or not really over, but just get back to square one, get everything cleaned up, get the counters wiped down, get the floor wiped down and whatever, because I don't like tracking it around the house and whatever. And I know that when I have kids helping me, like before Peter was helping me and Maria, sometimes the tomato juice splashes a little bit more often probably than when I do it. And so that makes it kind of sticky on the floor, and I just like to clean up. So that's what I'm doing, just regrouping here, and I'm going to get back to cooking in just a few minutes. For the taco meat, I'm going to use my own taco seasoning here that I make up. I think it's probably less expensive to do it like this than to buy the pouches, and I think it tastes really good as well. I have seen a few recipes that use paprika, and mine does not. I've seen one that uses regular and smoked paprika, so kind of interested in trying that sometime, but we'll see. And if you do make your own homemade taco seasoning and you use paprika or smoked paprika, let me know if you have a really good recipe for that. I would really, really appreciate it. So for this amount of hamburger over here, I am going to put in about 4 tablespoons of seasoning. I'm not going to add the water right now. When I actually pull it out of the freezer and use it then, that's when I'll add the water, because I will throw this usually into my crock pot. So often what I do is I will just like cut the bag right off of the frozen hunk of meat and throw it into a crock pot, and then just warm it on low and let it just kind of basically simmer away all day long until it is supper time or whenever it is that we want to eat it. So I add the water then. So right now I'm just stirring this seasoning around. I've been doing this for a long enough time that I know how like seasoned I want the meat to look. So if 4 tablespoons isn't enough, I will add a little bit more. And I think I'm going to actually add a little more. I want it to look a little darker than that. We're going to go with an extra heaping tablespoon there. All right, that looks really good. I don't know if you can tell that it's a little bit more orange or, brownish orange, but it is. That's just right. I'm just opening up a couple cans of refried beans. I'm going to throw the refried beans into my taco meat right away.
Hi.
Hi. And if I don't have the refried beans at this time, I just freeze my meat just like this, and I can always, sometimes I'll just add the refried beans later. But I happen to have them because I did all my grocery shopping yesterday and I planned for this, so I have them. Okay, you can tell that it's definitely added some bulk to this, and it's also much drier. So since we're having tacos tonight, I'm just going to take half of this, put it in a Ziploc bag, label that with taco meat, and then the rest of it I'm going to add about a cup of water to, put it on the stove, and let that just kind of simmer slowly so it's nice and hot for supper tonight. Now the recipe that I use for nachos is this here, blue ribbon beef nachos, and I know that I could just use the same old taco meat, but I don't know, I started making this a long time ago and we just really like it for that. Okay, so I've been just kind of pulling off the top here, but I see I'm going to have to drain this meat, but the rest of this is kind of earmarked for Calico Beans, and this is too much meat. So I think what I'm going to actually do is just package up some of this, maybe to make another pack of the nachos at some point. So when I was getting all the cans out for the Calico Beans, I saw that I had a can of mild chili beans, so I'm just going to set that there, and in a little bit I'm going to open that and throw that in with the nacho meat. Rather than get a can of refried beans, I'll just use what I have. Then that'll be all ready to serve up when we're ready this month. So here's the recipe for Calico Beans, and I'm just going to be doubling this so you can see that it has a whole lot of beans: pork and beans, butter beans, lima beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, garbanzo beans, and then we have some ketchup, salt, vinegar, dry mustard, and brown sugar. I'm going to double this recipe up. I will have to fry the bacon a little bit later. I only have just a few minutes. I have like 14 minutes to get this done before we have to run and get the van, and so I'll have to fry the bacon at a later date, but I am going to get this all going quickly. While Warren and I ran to get the van, it was getting some repairs done, I'd asked Sam if he would cut up black olives and the tomatoes, and if he would cut up lettuce for us. I had a head of lettuce that I wanted cut up for boys. Boys,
Hey, boys! Joseph, enough.
don't do that to his door. You're going to break his door.
Stop.
But I'd asked Sam to cut up lettuce, and he's like, we walked in the door, and he's like, Mom, did you say murdered?
Yeah.
He said, I murdered the lettuce. And I went and looked at it, and he's like, it just doesn't look right. I said, well, that's because it's cabbage. So we got a good laugh out of that. And so then I just quick cut up the lettuce. We've got some hot sauce here, some sour cream. We have the meat that we cooked up earlier. I just have that simmering here, and in the oven I have some taco shells. So that is going to be lunch. No. That is going to be supper. It's already supper time. And then we are off to our evening.
But between the colors.
There's a huge difference, isn't
Oh,
there?
yeah.
So then we're going to be off to our other
That's
evening activities.
cabbage. Okay. And that's lettuce.
I've had so many requests for cooking videos. They just come in just about every single day. So I hope that you guys are really enjoying this Cook With Me video where I'm making all of my family's favorite meals. And I did also have a request from Eve. She had asked if I had any good pumpkin bread, banana bread, or zucchini bread recipes. And so here we go. This is just a fantastic banana bread recipe. I find quick bread recipes seem to turn out the best and have the best flavors if they're super simple. This recipe here tonight, I'm actually doubling it. No, I'm actually tripling it. However, I'm going to share with you the ingredient amounts here. So get ready with a pen and paper to write these down. You start with a cup of sugar and 1/4 cup shortening and a 1/4 cup of butter, and beat that all together. You really want to give it a good beating so that everything's well combined. And then you're going to be adding in 2 beaten eggs. I don't beat the eggs first. I add them in, and then I mix it all up with my mixer. And then for some reason it just kind of ends there, but there are a whole lot more ingredients that go into this, and that would be 1/3 cup of sour milk or buttermilk. Now if you want to make sour milk, you just put a little bit of lemon juice or vinegar, either works just fine, in with your regular milk to make a 1/3 cup, and that works perfectly for sour milk. Otherwise, buttermilk works great too. And then 2 or 3 crushed bananas. Again, I don't do anything to the bananas ahead of time. I simply just put the whole soft banana right in there and let my mixer do the work. A 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, and then tonight I'm going to do nuts in half of the batter and the other half leave plain, because I have family members who like it both ways. So just always trying to make it so that everybody is as happy as they can be with the food, which isn't always an easy thing to do, as I'm sure most of you mamas know. Okay, we finally are kind of settled into our nighttime. It's actually 9:30, and I'm just kind of getting back into it. You saw that I started working on my banana bread, and there is the batter. I'm going to do half of it without nuts, so I'm going to get some of that put into these containers. I have some large loaf pans, smaller, a real tiny one, and these kind of decorative ones here. So I'm going to get that going, but I want to just do half without nuts, and then I want to do half with nuts because, different people in the family like it different ways. I also got I had 3 more quarts of tomato juice to get canned, so I have that going. And I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up. So I appreciate you guys hanging out here with me for the day and cooking some of the same old recipes that I always cook. But, I think that it is important to find some of the things that your family really likes and really stick with it. Now, I like to try new recipes, and so that's why on my menu planner you see that I always kind of leave a column where I can add try some new things. But it's important to find those family favorites and just kind of keep those going. So that's what I was doing here today, just keeping the family favorites going. And I think I got everything done. So I'm going to put a comment down here. I appreciate you guys all so much for always leaving comments. It's really fun to read. Like I said, I read those to the family a lot of times, like while we're driving or whatnot. And I am going to sign out for the night, finish this up, and we will be back tomorrow. Okay, good morning everybody. Yes, my voice is still a little bit rough. The coffee is just brewing. I just wanted to give you a quick look at the tomato juice. So I did 9 quarts in a pint, and you can tell, see, so this is what my tomato juice looks like. I can give it a little shake and it just sort of, that's parsley in there if you're wondering. But anyway, just wanted to give you guys a quick look at some of the results of the day. And over here I have the banana bread. So I did just a variety. Warren and I tried a piece of this one last night, but just a variety here of sizes, some with nuts and some without. And so just wanted to give you guys a quick look at how the nighttime cooking went last night. Definitely check the description box below. I'll have links to some of the recipes that I made today, or if I made them in another video, I'll have a link to that as well. So, and I hope that you enjoyed this day of 12 pounds of ground beef plus all the bonus footage.